Okay, great. Thank you so much. So it is 6:34 p.m. We have a quorum, so I'm going to call this meeting of the December Executive Committee meeting of Manhattan Community Board to order, as we have a quorum. And with that, do I have any corrections or to the November 2025 Executive Committee minutes? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
To approve?
Done.
And do we have a second? Second from Brian. So first from Susan and a second from Brian. Okay, great. So with that, we will go to the chair's report, which is me. So thank you, everyone, for who attended the holiday party. And if you did not, you were missed. And I also want to thank everyone here for closing out your months of board business. I know this is an extremely busy time of year. And I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to do that successfully and getting ready for next year. A couple of things that we'll go over when we review January and the committee reports is we are going to be sending out the January calendar on likely on Monday. We want to get it out before the holiday, before everyone kind of goes silent for the holiday. So I will be reaching out to get I will ask about them this evening, and then we will follow up to get those out. And it's okay if it's not in the first batch, it just won't be on there. But if you could please try to get that closed up. I know I'm also asking this to people that are also writing reports and closing out the month. So thank you for your continued efforts there. We are starting to get kind of the closing credits reports of all of the different agencies of the outgoing administration. So we'll be forwarding those as they come in to different committee chairs and whatnot. So look out for those. And I think that is all that I have in our chair's report. We have Borough Board this Thursday, and Borough President Levine will be there as his last, not that he's not always there, there's always a representative, but he will be there right at 8:30 to give some closing remarks. And other than that, that's all that I have for my chair's report this month. As far as the district manager's report, you should have received that in your email, so I'll let everyone skim that over. And if you have any questions for Mark, we can address those after and outside of this meeting. So next, I want to go to the review of January and the following 2026 calendars. So we start right out. The month starts out. Our the full week is the 5th of January. So we have street activities, SLA1, parks, SLA2. And so let me just quickly share my screen. So is there any changes to the January calendar?
Well, I would comment for the Landmarks Committee that we are anticipating a second January.
Okay. And so we'll know that not until New Year's Day or the 2nd, probably, of January, or that Friday? Because that's about when it closes out. Is that, or right? Is it 2 weeks before? Or is it exactly the week before that the agenda closes out? Do you?
Can't answer that. Sorry.
Okay, that's all right. Okay. I mean, it's gonna have to go on the 12th. We have Martin Luther King Jr. Day on the 19th, so there is no possibility for there to be a meeting there. So it probably will have to double up and either be somewhere external or double up here in the room with cannabis licensing. So to be continued. Yes,
We
hi.
can go early.
Okay,
If that's, we only have 1 hour.
okay. So you want like a 5 6:30 or?
Yeah.
Okay. With a 6:30 stop or with a?
Hard stop.
Okay, a hard stop. Okay. Okay, then that might be what we need to do then. So I'll confirm that offline. Okay, and then no other changes on January. We'll do the committee reports in the order of the calendar in just a minute. And then Donna, did you have something you wanted to change?
I think Mark changed it in September. SLA 1 is going to meet on Tuesday, the 1st of September before Labor Day, and SLA 2 will meet on, Tuesday, the 1st, and then Thursday, the 10th after Labor Day.
Okay. Great. I see that change has been made there. Great. Wonderful. Awesome. Okay.
Executive full board is correct for September.
Yeah, I don't see July in here or June.
They-
Yeah. Okay. I was like, wait, because I was like double checking because I was going to make the comment that for, I think most of June and I think all of July, it's just the licensing committees with applications in July. And then I think June, we still have meetings. Okay, that's weird. All right, no other changes there. Then let's go to the standing. What?
September, it's full board is usually the second to last Thursday.
It should be the
And
17th.
it's, so he's got it up.
How did that drop off?
And I think it may have been part when I moved SLA. Because originally SLA was on the 1st and the 3rd. And then I asked to move it to the 8th and the 10th. So I think when we did that, we moved everything else.
Okay.
So that's, if everybody's okay with that, that's,
Well, it's been like that for.
yeah,
at
it's
least
been
2
like that
months
for at
now.
least 2 months. Yep.
Okay.
Well, so in September, if there's needed for more meetings, it could fill in the first week. Is that what you're saying? We've now got an empty first week in September.
Yeah, you've got,
So if somebody,
Exactly.
like,
If somebody
landmarks
wants to.
needed an extra meeting, they could flip in there.
What's the milestone event in Mark's son's career?
We can talk about that offline.
Okay.
Yeah. Want to move us along. So next, let's go to the standing committee reports. So we'll do that in the order of the January calendar. So let me just share my whole screen. Okay. Okay, so we have street activities and resiliency. Oh, hi.
Hi, I just am noticing that there's no, because just Wednesday, November 11th is a holiday, we don't know what we need for land use, but there's no, oh, it's on the 9th. Okay, I'm just seeing, it's doubled up, sorry. Maybe a little bit behind the conversation. Okay, got it.
That's okay. Okay, great. Anything else? All right. So next, street activities and resiliency.
What do you guys usually say?
So we do not need to hear about all, we're looking for like a general theme that this body should address. Yeah.
No, all is good. We did have an issue. There was one of the resolutions that all of our resolutions this month are done by the time we get to full board. But we had an issue on Crosby Street that they put a generator and we had a lot of people call in and complain, and
Crosby and what?
Grand,
Okay.
just below Grand. But Mark contacted NYPD or maybe fire. I don't know who would be generator, fire, I guess. And I think it was taken care of. So that might come up, but otherwise all is good. Next month is really slow. So we're trying to get the San Gennaro people in as well as DSNY.
Great. Yeah, you guys have been working on DSNY okay, great. Was it a pretty short meeting you said this month?
This month was, yeah.
Okay, great.
We only have 4 resolutions.
Okay.
7 with renewals.
Thank
Pretty
you.
light.
Thank you very much. SLA 1 and 2, and then we'll go to parks.
Okay, SLA 1 and 2, nothing that remarkable, I guess I would say in SLA 1, that there was an application for an adult recreation facility, which is a new sort of license. And so I think it's the first one in the city it will be.
What does that mean?
It just means it's really like, this one is trivia games, like a game show thing. Or it could be a pool hall, or it could be a.
And what is it called again?
Well, it's adult recreation facility or adult entertainment facility. It depends which thing you.
Sounds like a strip.
Well, that's why I'm calling it the adult recreation instead of the adult entertainment. The advisory says adult entertainment, the news announcement says adult recreational. But that's what, for pottery classes or this game show thing or a pool hall. So it's that, and it just is, they can license this space, but it's an accessory to their primary business, and the majority of the income cannot come from, so.
And we heard some feedback on this, right, from the community?
Feedback on a lot of applications,
Okay.
actually, this
Okay.
month, but yes, there was a lot of feedback. It's
On this new one.
on Bowery, there's a number of other licensed premises right there. It's very residential. There's 3 on the same side of the street, on the same block. They have lines and everything else. So this is reservation ticketed, reservation only. They promise there will be no lines because it is reservation only, and the lower floor is a bar that have light bites too area, and the only people that can go there are people that are either waiting to play one of their games or after their game. So it's not open to the public for that purpose.
And will the adult recreation be retroactively added to like existing establishments like Fat Cat or something or some, okay. That has.
No, because they wrote a tablet. I mean, this is really, it's still, I looked at the license classes. I don't see this as one, so it's just an expansion
Okay.
of, unless they haven't updated their thing. Do you have anything? Oh, God.
Advisory, it's a new one.
It says it's a new one, but I couldn't find it. I couldn't find the code number for it. So I
Okay.
guess when they get their license,
Okay.
I'll inquire.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Anything else from anybody? Have any comments or discussion points? Okay. So for Parks and Waterfront, will you be?
Is Rich on?
I don't know.
He has a cold, so he went home and he was, okay. Rich, if you're on, let us know. We met with Tricia Shimomuro, the Borough Commissioner, and we talked about, we met with Will Morrison of Washington Square Park and Washington Square Park Conservancy. He talked about the impact that the arrests have had on the arrest operation. The sting operation has had obviously a positive effect. He also just updated us on a bunch of different stuff at the park. The Conservancy is now going to try to redo the surfacing of the dog run because it's disgusting. And then someone was asking a question about the different roles, his role as a parks employee and his role as the Conservancy, and has the Conservancy been involved with the police activity? And he made clear that the Conservancy does not get involved with police activity at all. Conservancy does horticulture and programming, and the Parks Department does that. We also, Shimomuro talked about a bunch of different parks, revisiting all the 6th Avenue corridor of parks, Golden Swan, and then there's a problem, Churchill, which is at Downing Street, has been a big problem, but
Right.
a drug problem. They're aware of that. And she talked about, the city's trying to come up with a license agreement with the Jefferson Market Garden because that relationship is not defined in any way. And she said it's a slow-moving vessel. And then she talked about Elizabeth Garden and confirmed that it has been designated a park by executive order. And somebody asked, well, what about like zoning and other processes? And she wasn't actually so aware of what that would be, but she assumed that there's a process that's gonna make everything official.
That might be a good executive order to look up. Okay.
Sorry?
Great. So it'd be interesting to see what that looks like, the
Yes.
document. Yeah. Thank you. Anything else?
And so there's no resolutions, I'm sorry.
That's
There are
right.
no resolutions.
And then what is the agenda for January?
I have no idea.
Okay. Right. Right, so cannabis licensing,
No report. We didn't meet this month.
what's on the agenda for?
Oh, we have one application for next month.
Oh, you sent that in, yeah, you sent in your,
Yeah, my agenda. It's 99 Jane or 66 Jane. It's a corner of Jane and Greenwich Street. And it's been on the agenda and withdrawn, I think, the last 2 months under two connected but separate owners.
Okay.
Same entity. Jennifer Dar, who owns Dagmar in Soho,
okay,
is now applying on Jane Street.
and thank you. And could you quickly just like a couple lines on CCB not getting our resolutions, if you could just say one thing, so we have that in the record.
I will say that we wrote a letter to the OCM because there's a concern that the actual Cannabis Control Board is not getting our resolutions. I've personally witnessed them passing over feedback we know that was submitted, not for our board, but from other boards, because I watch a lot of meetings and I know what the community, like, read everything. And there are things that were absolutely submitted to the OCM that did not reach, in my opinion, because I know they went there, the Cannabis Control Board, and may not have been factored into licensing decisions. So in order to ensure that they do get that the Cannabis Control Board, who makes the ultimate decision, gets our resolutions and reads them, because we work very hard on them.
Now the office is sending them directly to them.
Now we are sending them directly to the Cannabis Control Board members individually.
Thank you so much.
Can I have a question? And so does the licensing require community board, I mean,
No,
is the board required to receive community board resolutions, or is the community board resolution process part of the licensing process?
it is. Now, similar to SLA, the process is they have to give us notice. It's that 30-day notice is required. It is in the law. It is in the MRTA.
But they have to give us notice.
The applicant has to give us notice. Now, we also have PCA, which is a different notice process with a different timeline. And a second notice, we get notice from the applicant, and then we have a second notice from the Cannabis Control Board or office, OCM, which asks us again to weigh in when they alert us of the PCA, even though technically we should have gotten the notice already.
But so I'm clear,
Yeah.
because I guess I have this question for SLA too. So these entities are required to notify the community board. Are they also required to receive feedback from the community board? You know, in the same way that land use is required to receive feedback.
They are
from the community board?
required. What it says, what the MRTA says, and this is, I think, similar to what SLA law says, that the body is community board, that you have to give notice, applicants have to give
As
notice.
a municipal body.
The municipal body for the 5 boroughs is the
Yeah.
community board. And so the municipal body statewide, you have to give notice, and that municipality gets 30 days, has the
Oh,
right, it's
thank
our
you.
right to weigh in.
Okay,
And they, whatever decision
Right.
we send them must become part of the record of that application.
thank you.
And follow it along the
Which is different than,
process.
for example, DHS notifying us where they don't need to hear from us.
Yeah.
Just helpful to
Yeah,
know.
will you just say that acronym for everyone?
It's public convenience and advantage, which we also have in SLA. It's when something doesn't conform to proximity guidelines.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, any other discussion on this? Thank you. Land use and housing? Oh.
You're muted.
All right, sorry. All right, so this month, we had a good meeting. We had actually George Jeans come in and present to us about a zoning challenge that he had brought on behalf of a neighbor to related to a building that was going up on 14th Street. And, it was actually a building that we had discussed when City of Yes was before land use as well. So it was interesting just to see in terms of, how some of these new developments are coming under new regulations and how there needs to be a process to, even for some of these as of right buildings, some of them are not necessarily going up on the same interpretation. I think what we heard was a very clear cut zoning challenge in terms of what was going up. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. Secondary to that, George also explained to us how the City Planning Commission has been issuing, or DCP has been issuing corrections to the zoning text without really any oversight. He gave a pretty good example of one line that he had seen in the zoning text that said R11 and R12 must include mandatory inclusionary housing. That entire sentence disappeared from the zoning text. And it was even after, it was passed by city council. So it was after all those deliberations. They just suddenly decided that it was, for some reason, part of the zoning text anymore. So corrections are seemingly issued without, so much as like a track changes type of document. The city will put out an addendum saying these following parts of the code have changed, but will not tell you what the previous and the post, pre and post change is, nor the reasoning for the change. I mean, some of these are, typos and things like that, which don't necessarily need to have any type of approval. But, deletion of a whole sentence, this is usually the type of thing that, city council and various members would have deliberated for a long time on. So to just see that happen was concerning, and he brought that up to us. Luckily, we did have a member of Council Member Epstein's office join us for this land use meeting, and she wanted to propose that, he could take this up as a bill to have some type of oversight for when these changes occur. And so she did ask us for what our thoughts were on this. We weren't prepared at this particular meeting to go through and have those to her. So that's something that we'll take up at a future meeting in January. But what we were told was very interesting, just to see the changes, and also, more importantly, I think the changes to the zoning text that are occurring without any type of oversight. And there's no resolution for this month.
Yes. Who is it that told you that George, who is it? Who's that?
George Janes. So he's the consultant that actually we've hired for a number of things, such as City of Yes, works with many other community boards in the city as well.
Is he a lawyer?
He's a planner.
A planner.
Thank you.
Thank you. And then what is on the agenda for January?
For January, it's a continuation of the discussion. So we are planning to have a resolution on the zoning challenge that we heard this month, as well as the response for Councilmember Epstein. And we are also possibly looking to get HPD to come in and speak to us. So at the minimum, we will be meeting for a resolution.
Okay, great. All right, and that's on Wednesday, January 14th, right? Right, okay.
That's correct.
Right, okay, great. Thank you, Jean, and thank you, Katie. Oh, and you also testified at the BSA hearing for 55 Little West 12?
Yes, both Katie and I testified at that meeting. It was quite a long meeting. It was like 6.5 hours until our actual event. I mean, we had a review session and then they had testimony. But ultimately, the review board did find that most of the building that was coming up at 52 West 11th did not really meet the challenges that they had said for uniqueness. The one thing that they did agree on was that it was a narrow lot. They are going to give the applicant an opportunity to revise their their application essentially for a review. And so when that application does come in, which is, I think, going to be in February or March, we will probably review it so that if there's changes to that, we will have an option to update our resolution or issue a new resolution.
Oh, so it's going to be formally referred back to us.
It's going to be, that's a good question. I don't know if it's formally referred back.
Okay.
It's, they're giving a chance to update their application.
Okay. And okay, got
Could
it.
I just add one thing?
Sorry.
They very much took our concerns and the issues that we raised, the Board of Standards and Appeals took it to heart, and really, and similar issues were raised by Assemblymember Glick, Greenwich Village Historic Society, the Village Preservation, and other members of the community. And unbeknownst to us, a letter had been submitted by Parks, because the High Line is concerned about the impact of the height of this new building. So the chair was quite stern with the applicant and said, you really, come back bearing in mind all of these comments, and come back with an application that just looks at one particular, that just builds on one particular aspect, addressing the narrowness. I think they will get the use change if they go through this process, but our resolution and all the work we did was treated, was taken very much to heart by the board. So I think that's good to know.
Yeah, and from what I watched, I mean, Commissioner Chanda, wow, she runs a fantastic public hearing. It was quite remarkable. I was really impressed, along with the other commissioners too, in terms of what sort of preparation they went in to be ready for that meeting. It was quite remarkable to watch.
This is BSA.
BSA, yep. Thank you, Katie, and thank you, Eugene. Okay, so and then next we have landmarks.
If I may, just to clarify on cannabis, I've got in my notes that it's 96 Jane Street, but you said it was in the corner of Greenwich.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
90.
I thought you said 90.
Yeah,
99 is
99 is
Street.
on Hudson Street.
Greenwich Street.
Not
So-
Greenwich Avenue.
96 Jane is on the corner of Washington, and there's no building that looks
Then it's
like a
66.
store.
Sorry, I'm gonna look right now. I'll just look at our calendar.
66 or 69, something like that.
Okay.
All right, so for landmarks, we have nothing outstanding to report. I'm reading from email. They didn't have anything in particular.
Okay.
We had the usual several interesting applications and resolutions, and in fact, I found it to be very interesting, but I won't go into that now. That's my report.
Great, thank you. Very quickly, I'll do quickly the outdoor dining. 66. Outdoor dining. I testified at the city council hearing. There were 3 bills with another 2 coming that were not calendared for this oversight hearing. We've heard 542 of these applications. We have 30% of all outdoor dining cafes in Manhattan and nearly 20% of all across all 5 boroughs. And talked about how outdoor dining's been a resounding success in CB2. Its revocable consent fees are 55% cheaper than before COVID for most of CB2, for the land area of CB2. And we have the most across all 5 boroughs. And so there's seasonality of roadway. It was one of the items on there, making the clear path requirements all 8 feet, which was back to the pre-pandemic program. However, the clear path requirements of 8, 10, and 12 feet are the only protection that we have with the geographic expansion into our residential neighborhoods. And then preserving the clear path by removing the perimeter demarcation. We talked about that. That was passed at the last full board. And in another last statistic I'll leave you with is that in the 1.4 square miles that is CB2, our 542 outdoor dining cafes, that's twice as many as the entire borough of Queens. And it's only 100 less than in the entire borough of Brooklyn, which in and of itself in land area, not water, is over 70 square miles. So just for the scale. So we said that really quickly. I testified to that very quickly. The other two outstanding bills that have not been calendared and only have one sponsor, which is the current incoming speaker, is to transfer the program from DOT to the Department of Consumer Worker Protection, which is where the pre-pandemic sidewalk cafe program was prior to COVID, and we do have board positions in favor of that. And the other one is to remove the actual revocable consent license from the revocable consent from outdoor dining cafes. So that would by taking that out, that would just have it be a license, like a cosmetology license or any other kind of license that would fall under DCWP, and that the revocable consent is what brings those applications to the community board process. So I'll let you read into the lines of what the purpose of that may be. Any questions? Yes.
When you say it's a success, what do you mean by it's a success? You said it's a resounding success.
As a resounding success, we continue to have people that are operators that are successfully in compliance, and we have a high volume, and we continue to see a high volume of applications, both in the outdoor dining working group and then in for the liquor license part. So
I guess my concern is that, I mean, in the earlier days of this program, post-COVID, some of us felt that this neighborhood was besieged by them, that there were too many of them. And so when I hear these stats of like, we have twice as many as Queens, that seems like a failure to me. That we have not been able to protect our neighborhood from being overrun with them. So I guess that's a statement. And I guess the other question I had was, I'd heard that there was a bill being discussed that would remove the seasonality, that they would be.
So that's what I just said. Yeah.
Right, so have we taken a position on that?
We have, yeah.
So we support getting rid of the seasonality.
No, that's not. No. We actually were in favor of having the seasonality. Yes.
And where does that bill stand? Do we have any sense of where that bill?
So it's laid over. It's the end of the year. So they're laid over until next year. So we have to be reintroduced.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Anything else? Okay.
I'm sorry, one other thing, I'm sorry. Do we have a sense of how much money these licenses are generating for the city in our district? I mean, I will disclose that I have a prejudice, a bias. That is that I feel that the sidewalks are being are undervalued, that we're not getting as much money for them as they're worth. And so I'd be interested to know if we know anything about how much are operators actually paying for this? And is it a lot of money, or is it just a pittance? Do we have any sense of that?
So what you can do, they have not ingested this information into open data. I've been asking, I ask all the time. And so the quick and dirty way to do it would be to scrape the site plans for the square footage and the assigned, 1, 2, 3, 4 of the zone, and then do the math and do that. But again, this program is not designed to make money because the fees are lowered. It used to be $99 a square foot, I believe, below 96th Street. And so something like that, 96 or 99. I have the math, I've done it. That's certainly one point to make, but we're just one part of the process of the applications coming through. We're not compared to the density of what goes on there. We've tried that with the roadway, and there was FDNY guidance on the density and the safety where the fire lane, the emergency lane 15 foot was not met, but the agency chose not to follow that.
But so as a community board, do we no longer have an opportunity to express the concerns that we've had about outdoor dining, or have we changed our position and walk in and say this is a great success in community board too? I'm trying to understand that.
Sure, it sounds like, well, if you could, if you could come speak up here if you're gonna.
Yeah, the
I know, I don't-
planning board has a whole page on our website with all the board's positions on outdoor dining through the whole evolution of it. And our positions have been pretty consistent from the very beginning, outlining exactly what you said, that the highest tier is not high enough for certain parts of our community. It's not fair to the businesses that pay significantly less rents, that have
And
to
it
pay
rides right on
the
Hudson.
same rate that somebody who pays really high rents gets a significant discount on adding seating into their space.
Yeah, I just
It's
wanted,
a lot of, we've taken on the legislation, the board has positions on almost every
I'm sure.
single area.
I just wanted a quick read of like, do we still in general express caution and concern, or do we express gratitude and that this is a great success?
I think there's two sides to it, right? One is we have to apply the rules that are in place.
Yep.
And we have to give commentary on that. And the second is opinion on the rules. So those are two different things. And the board has a pretty elaborate positions that were formulated over the whole spectrum of the regulations. But as they come before us, we regularly, these are what the rules are. That's what the application of the rules is. And without the opinion on whether we
I understand.
agree with it or not. So
I understand.
we've been tried to be very, I think, consistent in application of the rules across
Right.
all the applications. And we ran into issues where we think there are problems. One is with ADA access. The other is emergency lane access, both of which the city has interpreted in interesting ways. That, and then we also passed a resolution last month where we thought that the barriers that are on smaller sidewalk cafes are actually creating more problems than they solve, because they're out in the sidewalk and get moved out because of the unrealistically narrow space that the city is allowing. So we have taken different positions.
I didn't mean to sidetrack us. I will do my homework and I will go and read this. I don't mean to start.
No, but it's.
What our positions are for every.
No, I mean,
I remember a certain position in general as a, that we had about this. And so when I hear, that there's, that the land is cheap, that they're talking about removing seasonality, and that, and that we have more than anybody else on the planet, those things concern me. Thank you.
And the seasonality is just the roadbed. Sidewalk cafes are allowed.
Yeah.
Year round.
Have been year round.
yeah, so when I say that I
So it's
tested.
just the
Sheds,
roadbed.
no, the sheds have been taken down in November.
No, but the sheds no longer exist. The sidewalk cafes are allowed to exist all year round. The issue with the roadways, and you can, if you remember when they took them all down, you just need to look at the New York City roadbed, which are destroyed because we came to learn that asphalt needs sunlight.
I actually pulled
In order to stay asphalt, because it needs the
Oh.
heat.
Got it.
And
Yeah.
otherwise it dries out or whatever and falls
So,
apart.
so on the seasonal roadway dining, we did not say we were in support of that. The idea of saying that it's a success, because it is in some sense a success in that we do have the largest number. Whether or not that is successful, to how people feel about that being a success, that's your own opinion. And so on the seasonal roadway dining, we actually said that it ends up being used as seasonal storage for the establishment. That seasonal roadway dining is what we want in our neighborhoods, not seasonal storage. So, and then citing the research about, I pulled a paper about how asphalt and pavement surfaces are under intense thermal and structural stress during the warm months. And so when they don't have, so whatever is not covered is absorbing all of the heat for the ones that are covered. And so it leads to expanding, contracting, and accelerating fatigue and cracking and all these other kind of really dry things. And so, and then as far as the clear path requirements, that the 8, 10, and 12 feet based on the different uses from the DOT pedestrian mobility plan, those do work in our district. And so we do not agree with we have the position that supports those very uses, not an 8 foot across the board. So we spoke to that. And then about the two tops, we have a board position that was voted on at full board last month that would, if it's just two tops with a table and two chairs against the building facade, that we actually believe that in order to support small businesses, that we shouldn't require the perimeter demarcation because it actually impedes the clear path. So as long as that they're in compliance with the clear path requirement for the sidewalk, as well as ADA requirements, that should be allowed. We hear so many applications where people just want one table out there so that the public knows that they're there. So, and with that, and we have landmarks of schools and education.
We did not meet this month, but we have an update from Literacy Academy Collective in January at the end of the month.
Okay, so literacy, okay. So I will get that language from you. And then is there something in the chat? Okay, so let's see, CUIP facilitation team, okay, living, okay, some sort of announcement about outdoor dining legislation. Thanks, Pete. Great, so that's schools and ed, and then traffic and transportation. Janine, are you with us online?
Yes, I am. We have, can you hear me?
Yeah.
We met twice since our last board meeting on November 24th and December 4th. And November 24th was with community boards 1, 2, and 3. It was hybrid. We had about 170 people there. And then the December 4th was just our committee and about 20 members of the public with DOT. And we have a resolution that goes through all the different parts of the Canal Street redesign. The city had 5 goals. And so we sort of broke our comments on the plan into those 5 goals. And then we also addressed missed opportunities because there's no mention of micromobility. I'm sure you've all seen those, I call them like mini trucks, but they're in the bicycle lane. UPS and Amazon have them and other organizations have them. There's no, and that's really the future of deliveries, and it's pretty common all over Europe. So they didn't address that. They didn't address greening and infrastructure and really accessibility issues because they're getting rid of all parking and all deliveries and drop-offs on Canal Street. And somebody may need to get, somebody who can't get dropped off at the corner and walk a half a block or 2 blocks, depending how it is, really does need access. I'm happy to go into more detail, but it's going to be an 8-page resolution. It is an 8-page resolution, so you also can take a look at it. Any questions?
No, thank you for organizing such a great joint meeting and for the quick follow-up.
Yeah. For January,
Yes.
I need to hear back because the point of this is the DOT is going to come back to us with changes, and technically our meeting would be after the board meeting in January. So I need to confirm with DOT if that would work. Otherwise, we will do a different
Meeting
topic.
date.
Yeah, meeting date and a different topic for January. So I'll do that before the calendar goes out next week.
Okay, great. We'll follow up. Thank you so much. Thanks,
Mm-hmm.
Janine.
Thank you. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye. Great. Great. Human services.
We did not meet in November, and we are not meeting this month. In January, we are going to be hearing from members of the Community Advisory Board of Bellevue Hospital. Okay. They have a number of advocacy issues that they are hoping to gain support on from several different community boards. So we'll hear from them, and then we'll have room for something else on the agenda. I'm hoping to have the Village Interagency Task Force report out. Then they haven't confirmed it, but I think that unless they have a scheduling problem, that should work out. We met with them it will have been about 6 months, and we're trying to meet with them twice a year so that anyone who comes can give them observations and feedback, which they should do, although no one comes to our meetings, and that they can also report out what they're doing. The task force is designed to not have public meetings. They are specifically not public meetings so that things can get done and people can be accountable to it. And the concern about that is just making sure it's not 5 people saying what they want and taking the neighborhood in hand. So we think that the way to manage that is to just have them report out often and have the public know that they can go to them often. And that who brings the issues up at VITF? Well, the
Like, are there
VITF
issues we can yield here to bring up there?
Yeah, like if you, I mean, so I only, there's two meetings. One is about infrastructure and one is about social services. So the one about infrastructure might be, there's scaffolding on that street and people are collecting underneath it, or there's not enough lighting on the street. That's infrastructure. I tend to go to the social service ones, which are what's going on in the park. Have you seen so-and-so? There's like a number of people who are regulars on the street. You know, what's going on with them? Have they gotten home? Have they gotten shelter? Have they gotten arrested? Have they got? And the people who attended, of course, are from the mayor's agencies. So it's a very direct line of contact. And the VITF, in turn, they have their a WhatsApp group that's sort of how they came to become appointed for the VITF, is that they had started something called the NAG, the Neighborhood Action Group. And because people were complaining about, you know, people using drugs on their street and defecating on their sidewalk. And so they started this conversation. And when the DA's office went looking for who could chair this task force, it's often someone who runs a bid. So Scott Hobbs of Village Alliance is on it. And then they appointed Brian Maloney and Vanessa Warren, who have been involved with this neighborhood action group and have spent a lot of time worrying about quality of life issues. So does that answer your question?
That's perfect. No.
Sorry.
No, that's great. That's great. It'll be great to hear, though. It is the winter, so would it have tailed off, right? That's always the
Yeah, so
question.
we know from Will Morrison at the Parks Committee
Mhm.
meeting that, yes, things are very nice and quiet in Washington Square Park down. A lot of that is attributable to the sting, the arrests, and of course, you know, it's also cold.
Wonderful. Any other discussion on human services? Thank you. Okay, so with that, any new business? Anybody have any new business?
No, 7:21, baby.
Hi, Rich. I see that you've joined. I didn't know if you had anything you wanted to add.
Oh, Rich, do you know whether, do you know the agenda for January yet? That was a question.
Yeah, I don't remember. No, I don't.
Okay,
think so.
I'll email you. That's fine.
Yeah, but I heard Susanna covered our meeting. That's great. Sorry, Emily. No, that was it. No, I'm not sure what we have for January. I'll figure it out.
I'll follow up. Great.
You too,
Rita?
Ezra. You too, Ezra.
Sure.
Hi
Thanks,
there.
Ruth.
I just want to say that I attended a cocktail party at Jonathan Soros's place 2 weeks ago and met some of Zoran Mamdani's. I met him and I met some of his staff that are going to be heading up the volunteer committees. There are 17 committees, as folks probably know, that will be focusing on special issues. They have 400 volunteers that are manning those committees on various aspects of city life. And I think it would be interesting to have one of the folks are, if there are particular topics, like for example, mental health or human services in that area, to ask them if they can speak. And I will try to work on that.
Great, yeah.
And
They talked at all about anyone, no, I'm sure they didn't. The mayor's office of community mental health, whether that's going to still exist in the new administration.
that's not really clear because they really are looking at revamping the structure of New York City
Of everything.
administrative, right, makeup. They've received over 70,000 resumes. That's as of 2 weeks ago, to staff various positions within the administration. And so I will try to work it'll take me some time, probably the next 4 or 6 weeks, given the holidays, to see exactly who might be the person best situated to come and speak to us about priorities. And then I will have more information, Susanna, about Bellevue priorities after tomorrow.
Okay,
Just as a point, in 16 days, I think we have a new mayor and all the agencies will be the mayor's agencies. So the
Correct.
point of contact would still be the agencies, not an outside group, because they're still going to be the ones running everything.
Well,
So
they're going to be
it-
responsible for actually hiring who's going to be underneath the heads of each of those agencies.
Great.
right, but
When-
I'm just
well,
saying.
well, once they're in seat, then
And-
we'll
and
deal with
they-
them.
The engagements with the agencies.
Those committees are also responsible for working on priorities and how to implement those priorities and policies.
Got
So
it.
they're made up of experts within the field that may not be within the bureaucracy.
Well, let's just be in touch with, especially with Susanna on what's human services related, and we'll see where that goes. And yeah, so thank you, Ritu. So with all of that, yes, there'll be a lot of new faces and whatnot, and decisions to be made. So with that, is there any other further new business? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
oh, yes.
Second.
Susanna with the first and Susan with a second.
And Donna, can you give me a quick call? This is Ritu.
Yep. Okay, so.
Thank you.
Right, we could close that. Thank you, everyone, and see you on Thursday, hopefully. Thank you.